Do I redo? Great. Happy solstice, everyone. And I'm so grateful you're here. Okay, you rolled in. I love it. Ah, it is just such a joy to look at all of you. I know that we're going to get to have this practice together. Always, I say, make this practice your own. Do what feels good to you. And that's always true. It's never more true than tonight. Because I'm really hoping that we'll each find our own place of what it takes, what shape we need to be in to create a sense of inner peace, which I think also then makes body peace a critical part of it. I think we make a grave mistake as humans. Welcome, so glad that you could make it. We make a grave mistake in somehow believing that there is a separation between mind and body, and that we can just sort of, overcome body stuff by thinking positively, la la la. And I think it can help having positive thoughts, holding gratitude in our mind and in our heart, having affirmations and mantras that say, I am whole, I am well, I am safe, right? These can actually change the chemicals running through our systems. They can change our muscle tissue, maybe reduce pain. But I think often people make that mistake of just thinking like, oh, positive wins all, and not necessarily attending to or listening to what the body really needs. And that's really key. Sadie, I'm gonna ask you to move over a little bit. Yeah, that way we can stagger a bit. Thank you, my dear. Awesome. There's always plenty of room in here. We just didn't really organize ourselves because it's been a while since we had to leave like the three row system. Thanks for coming out, you guys. I'm hoping it was for more than just the chocolate, but if it was the chocolate that got you here, that's cool because we're going to get other goodies. I hope you guys at home have some chocolate. Otherwise, you know where to find it later. The chocolate meditation, speaking of the body, mind, whatever connection, has been a long tradition with us now. And of course, part of it is just about enjoyment, but part of it is very much about noticing how even when something that we say is wonderful and we love, like chocolate, it can be so easy to have our attention wander. It can be so easy to all of a sudden find ourselves chomping on it mindlessly and then be like, where'd the chocolate go? So my hope is in this defined, focused space that we will each be able to, in fact, not chomp on the chocolate. You'll just do a combination of sucking on it, holding it in your mouth and letting your saliva do its work. You can move it around your mouth. You can have your mouth closed, but like with open space between like your palate and the chocolate itself, so there's air. You can have it squished up against the palate. So you can do all these different things to experience the chocolate. And then what I like to do is extrapolate from there. Go, okay, if in fact I like chocolate, which I'm assuming most of you do, and I'm noticing when I give it this level of attention for 3 minutes, is by the way how long it takes for a piece to dissolve generally. What else in my life is amazing and would nourish me, body, mind, spirit, that I'm rushing through, or that I'm letting myself be distracted from, while I down that cup of coffee without even really noticing, or I say, hey, love you, without looking at someone's face and really letting myself feel the moment of love and appreciation and whatever it might be. And I feel like especially coming up in the holidays, there's a lot that we are going to be experiencing, and we would want to take it in and receive it as soul, mind, body nourishment. So I'm hoping the chocolate meditation kind of sets a little bit of a foundation for awareness that we can take into everything else that we do in the coming week and a half, etc., through the holidays. We're going to be doing a variety of things tonight, including, I'll just mention, one pranayama practice or breath practice that has very rapid in and out breath. It's called bellows breathing, and it's really using the abdomen to pump that breath, ideally. It can be wonderful. It's really good at moving like stagnant energy out. But if you know, like you've got, high blood pressure, or you're already feeling woozy or weird, I want you to really be aware while doing that, or choose not to do it if you're concerned, and just do more of a regular slow, deep and wide in and out, and you can still get a lot of benefit. Even 10 minutes of focused breath work replaces about an hour of lost sleep in terms of our restorative quality. It's amazing. And I like to remind us of that, because since we breathe all day, it's really easy to kind of underestimate its value, other than, yeah, I got some oxygen, I'm alive. But when we're doing a breath with awareness like we do in yoga, it is slower, deeper, wider. It takes us from fight or flight into rest and digest, and literally shifts our nervous system. And so my hope is that you'll all sleep fabulously well tonight. If you're very sensitive to caffeine, you might want to take the chocolate home and do your meditation on your own tomorrow. Just an administrative reminder, there is no class next week. I do have videos on YouTube on Third Mountain Yoga. So if you're thinking, man, I really want to do some more yoga, you can go check it out. I've got everything from yoga minis, 10 to 30-minute practices, to full length ones, and so on. So please go check that out. Any questions before we come into our practice?
Is there a class the first week of January?
There is class the first week of January, both here in Menominee, Tuesday, Thursday, and our Spring Valley Wednesday. Yeah, thanks. Anything else? All right, I'm going to invite us to begin laying down. If being flat does not work great for your body, remember you can bend your knees, you can put something under your knees, and of course you could always just roll onto your side, or whatever you need to do to feel well. Take a few moments to just wiggle around and notice where your body needs to be in space. Yeah, you might want to take your feet wider than the hips. You can point and flex through the feet, the wrists. And when you feel ready to settle, we'll come into sighing breaths. And sometimes we do 3. This evening, we're going to do more, and we're just going to let it keep rolling for a little while. So breathing only through the nose if you can, inhaling slow, deep and wide. And releasing through the mouth. As we continue, I invite you to turn your gaze up and in towards that third eye, center of the forehead. Creating a soft space between the upper and lower jaw, back at the molars. So even when you close your mouth again in the inhale, there is a spaciousness, as if you could hold something delicate there in the mouth and not squish it. Begin to notice the texture of your exhales. They may change as your process progresses. Notice where you're feeling the inhales in your body. Where do you feel fabric moving against your skin with each expansion? Next, I'd love you to notice, what has your thought process been like in these last breath rounds? Has it been attentive on breath? Has it run away like a wild puppy or monkey? That would be more normal, so don't judge yourself. I'm going to ask us to cultivate an intentional quality of thought throughout our practice this evening, as much as we can. We know that if we want the world to be more peaceful, we need to make our own life more peaceful. And we know that thoughts are powerful. Language is powerful. So I'm going to ask you to just scan not only your thoughts for the last few moments, but kind of what has life been like? What's the pace of it, the quality of it? Have there been any thought forms around hurrying or worrying or anything else that you recognize to just be hard on your system? And more importantly, what would you like to direct them towards? We want to send an energetic arrow with a word or a small phrase that tells our body, our being, the universe, God, whatever you connect with, what it is that we're wanting to embody and create in our world. Notice what that thought, if you come up with one, what effect that has on your body. Ideally, if we've struck upon something good for us, it should feel a little lightness in our heart or our belly. Maybe it makes us smile. And perhaps you're still sighing because, man, does it feel good. By the way, 3 sighing breaths can help calm our amygdala, the alarm center of our brain. So in the coming days, if you experience any moments where you feel your container just tightening, I want you to give that a try and see if you can get everything to release again. When you're complete with sighs, then the mouth is closed. We're breathing only through the nose. And I invite you to add ujjayi, great sounding breath. So you contract your throat a little bit so that as the breath passes through, it's making the whooshing sound of wind of the trees, ocean waves. If your brain has felt just chaotic, I invite you to plug your ears for the next 3 breaths or so. One of my favorite purposes for ujjayi breath, great sounding breath, is that I feel like I can use it as a wind to blow across the surface of my mind, clearing any garbage, detritus, clutter, kind of like picturing a lake, and all of it gets blown over to the shore until all that remains is a calm, clear pool. And you can return to that over and over again. Please continue with breath attention, now seeking most importantly the gap or pause between inhale and exhale, exhale and inhale. If you find that difficult, mind wanders, you might ask of the breath, is there more? Observing, is there more inhale? Is there more exhale? As you continue, please begin to roll your head side to side, all the way right, all the way left. Observing, curious, what does this create? What do you feel in your upper back? What do you feel further down, maybe or higher, all the way up into the connection of the skull, occipital ridge here? We're going to be giving that some deep attention tonight. This is where a lot of tension lodges. Then coming back towards center, please reach the chin vigorously up and back. And then bring it down and in towards the throat, pressing the top of the head towards the wall behind you. Reaching up and engaging down. It's like you're giving yourself a double chin. At some point when the chin is up and back, inviting you to hold in that kind of tractioned position and sort of reach your kind of right jaw and ear higher away from the right collarbone. And then the left does the same. And so you're bringing that stretch from being just fully in the front to moving it side to side. These muscles that you're getting into have a really big impact on jaw. So for those of you that experience a lot of TMJ or clenching of teeth or what have you, this can be a marvelous stretch. Play with it. Notice what's needed. At some point, inviting you to come back to center, and we're going to come into lion stretches. If you'd like, join me by inhaling, reaching arms overhead behind you. On the exhale, bringing the elbows in and making claws with the hands as you open your jaw as wide as you can. And of course, this can be seated, standing, you name it. This will be a good one throughout the holidays. Just in the moment, take a few seconds and release any tension that builds up. Yeah, you guys sound great. As you do a couple more, play with sticking the tongue out, also drawing it down and back like someone's holding a tongue depressor and wants to see your tonsils. Last one. Reaching arms overhead, clasp one wrist and pull, drawing long on it. Oh. And then the other. Oh. And then rolling wrists and ankles and reaching organically. I'm going to ask you to cultivate yawning, whether it's fake or real or goes from fake to real, which is usually what happens with me. I figure if I'm loud, then you won't be afraid to be sort of loud. But we know that yawning is a really great reset for the vagus nerve. Marvelous. When that is complete, please clasp the right knee, drawing it in towards the belly. Release wind pose. Scan your shoulders. Imagine your shoulder blades sliding down the back body. Imagine that you're reaching your forefoot as far away as you can from that right foot, that held one. Big belly breath. On the next inhale, extend the legs straight to the sky. Exhale, root your low back using that core. And as you slowly descend the right leg, like you're trying to reach the wall in front of you, roll the head a little side to side, especially if you're kind of a chronic neck tightener. That is your tool. And then please practice melting with everything you've got into gravity. Inhaling, guide the left knee into the abdomen. Feet flex firmly and draw away from one another. Shoulders slide down, elbows come in. What I call no wings, no shrugs. As you breathe deeply, I'm hoping you're feeling some stretch through that right hip. I'm hoping your abdomen's connecting to the thigh. You're actually getting a little massage for your descending colon here. And on a long inhale, extend that left leg. You can always point, flex, and roll up there. And on the exhale, root that low back, knee in firmly, like you want to squish something underneath. And slowly descend the leg. Scanning your body for unnecessary tension, eyes, jaw, tongue, neck, and melting with gravity. I'd like you to notice how difficult is it for you to soften fully in just a moment's notice. Does it take a while? That's okay, but knowing that is useful. We're going to come into that same leg release. I'm going to take the right leg straight up to the sky. Exhale, root and descend. The tongue is soft. I've got something delicate there. Maybe a little flower bud. Releasing. Left leg flying. Again, this is always to your breath timing. I'm just giving a general framework. Exhaling, rooting and descending. Is there more? Is there more? Can I soften around this? And then can I melt completely? coming into abdominal pumping. Inhale, slow, deep and wide, as if it's all you'd ever do. Exhale, empty. Hold the breath out, external breath lock, and then begin drawing the belly in and pressing out, and in and pressing out. And this is all with no breath inside. You're creating a marvelous massage for the internal organs, your nervous system, because you'll really be accessing that vagus nerve line there. Oh, and I often feel like sighing afterwards. Yeah, let that tension go. We're going to come into a couple more rounds of abdominal pumping, and please just notice if you feel like you need to intensify or reduce the intensity. What are you discovering here? How much tension? When that is complete, go ahead and bring both knees to belly, a little spinal rocking side to side. And we're going to plant those feet for bridge pose. So plant them. This would be a good time to take off socks if you've got any on. Work those shoulder blades in underneath you and then raise the hips up off of the floor. You guys know bridge pose. It's an old friend. Scan your neck. If you're feeling a pull, tilt the chin up and back a little bit. Yeah, if you want to add yoga mudra here, intertwining those fingers, feel free. We'll do 1, 2, or 3 more breaths depending on your system. Reach the knees away from you, the heart up and back towards you, and the ribs up away from your arms. When you feel complete, I'll have you bring the knees towards you and wide in happy baby. Take those knees as wide as you can, like you want to pull them to the floor. And you might be clasping the ankles, the blades of the feet, the big toes, or even placing a strap across the arches. So if you feel like you're kind of shrugging here and you want a strap, let me know. I'm happy to bring one your way. You can feel really, really good. Slide those shoulder heads down the back. Tilt the tailbone a little towards the floor. And believe it or not, this is an amazing position for breath experience. Big, big belly breath. Send it down into the hips, down into the low body. You might get a hip stretch. You'll definitely get an abdominal and low back stretch. And then we're going to come into butterfly. Bring the heels towards your butt, knees go wide. If you have a strap, you can just take both ends of the strap together and pull towards you. Otherwise, holding the feet, pulling towards you. And again, big belly breath. Some of us like adding a little windshield wiper, as I call it, where you bring one foot towards your head and then the other. You can even roll a little side to side as you do this. It gives you a little bit of a low back massage. And then we're going to come into our half straddle, extending the legs. I'm going to recommend you try it this way. Bring your hands even under your knees, behind your knees, and plop your elbows right onto the floor. Then extend both legs out into the hands. So you're using it as a support. And then you're going to just bend one knee at a time. So you're going to go back and forth once you feel you've got all that stability. And we're curious, can I straighten the leg? What does it take? It usually requires talking to the quadricep, that front of the thigh, getting it to engage in towards the thigh bone, pressing out through the heel. Again, you might point, flex, and roll. And then bringing the feet to bridge pose one more time. We're going to add our foot hover. Again, please work those shoulders in and under a little bit to protect the neck and cervical spine. And then ever so slowly, 1 foot at a time, comes just an inch or 2 off the floor, hovering. Scan your neck, your tongue, your breathing for unnecessary tension. Yeah, we're really using those glutes, those thighs, the back body, which tends to be weak and tight. And especially over the holidays, we tend to sit so much. So I'm hoping to give your body a head start on balance. When you come on out, we're gonna love it up with reclined pigeon. So I'm gonna cross right ankle to left thigh, heel flexed, and I'm just gonna wag my knee away and towards me, giving a little love up to that hip. Then raising the left leg if you can. If it hurts your back, keep it planted. Hug the right knee tightly towards your chest. So I'm using both hands wrapping around my right knee. And then I'm sending it a little towards the center line until I go, ah, I'm getting a massage. Yeah, so be a good massage therapist, would you please? Keep finding that edge. You might need to kind of pulse a little in and out. Definitely send it your breath. Breath is the change agent. Of course, if this is still feeling amazing, do not rush. There's nowhere exciting to get to. This is it. As you're ready, switch. Crossing left ankle onto right thigh. Heel flexed, wagging that left knee unless it hurts. And then raising the right leg unless it hurts. Hugging the left knee nice and tight towards the chest. No wings, no shrugs. Neck is liberated. And we send the knee towards the center line. So I'm just curious to have you check in with yourself. Are you a chronic neck tightener? Are you tightening the neck when you absolutely don't need to? That's okay. That makes you pretty normal, or at least it puts you in the camp with me. I'd like to think I'm maybe more normal. But it's important to know this because then we can check in on that part of ourselves so that we're not taking on loads of tension all the time. When you are ready to release, you might want to straighten the legs. Sometimes people feel like they need to open up that knee space. We're going to come onto hands and knees. So when you're ready, spinal rock, or however you want to get there, table pose. And I'm going to ask you to really think about how we move in and out of cow-cat today. Tailbone is going to reach back first, and then I'm going to inhale and draw the heart forward. I actually feel like this should be called like dog pose. I feel like I'm called like ow, coyote or wolf pose. Exhaling, tuck the tailbone and let the spine follow until the head hangs. Is there more? I mean, just really love up this pose. Inhaling, tailbone moves back, heart draws forward. And it's really important that we're in an active movement. We're not just collapsing or sinking our torso. If you're reaching, kind of looking forward through the chin, no problem, but check in that you're not feeling any compression in the back of the neck. Right? Really want to keep that area long. At some point in cat back, inviting you to play organically, you might take the ribs to the left and look out over your right shoulder. You might just go side to side in little wiggles. Sometimes I'll kind of circle my hips back by the heels and then come forward again. I'm going to do a little check-in in table to make sure we are beautifully in our core, not in our neck. Slide those shoulders down. Raise your right hand, left knee, hovering just a little off the floor. Hopefully nothing compensated. On your next inhale, extend the limbs long. And one way you'll know you're in your core, see if you can raise your left hand off the floor. I'm not saying you can stay, I'm just saying, a little hop. Good. Slowly come back as slow as you can. Resist gravity. And then notice that beautiful neutral space, all four limbs. Let's release left hand, right knee. Neck is soft, jaw, tongue. Inhaling, extending the limbs. Keep lifting through your rib cage. That's usually where we lose our core. Checking in, noticing what's there. And returning as slowly as you can. We're going to move into limb extensions. One breath, one movement. Inhaling, right arm, left leg extends. If you want more core work, take them a little out to the side. Exhaling, slow glacial return. You guys look so good. You're doing such a nice breath work. Ujjayi. Notice thinking, return to breath, return to your mantra if you found one. By now, you would be really ready to get off of your wrists. I would be. We're going to come onto our bellies. I'm going to invite you to rest on your forehead and reach behind, intertwining your fingers for Yoga Mudra. When you go to straighten your arms, if you just can't quite get those elbows to go click into a straight position, grab your sock, or I'm happy to bring you a strap. And then we also would love to bring the hands up away from the hips. And I prefer to kind of pulse. I'll bring them away and return. And I feel like it just helps release that whole line of tension around the shoulder blade, which is pretty chronic in our human beingness. As different as we are, we have a lot of things that bind us together. When you feel complete, just relax those arms. What is it like to be soft, to let gravity have you, to breathe into the belly until you feel it registering in your back? I read something interesting this last week, and of course now I have to tell everybody every chance I get. 60% of our lung capacity is behind the center line of our body. Right, so when we talk about breathing deeply, everyone's always like pointing to the chest and take a deep breath. It's back here. See if you can find it. We're going to come into a powerful pose, but with a deep level of peace, right? We find that again in our breath, our soft neck, jaw, forearm plank. I know most of you knew that was coming. I like to just have one hand in a soft fist and wrap the other hand gently around it. I like to check that my shoulder blades have peeled down into my back pockets best I can. And as I'm ready, I'm just going to tuck my tailbone and press off the floor with the hips until I'm on my knees. I like to start there and just check in. Am I breathing? Am I relaxing in all those areas that I should be? If I want to take it onto the feet, then I do. If you're coming onto your feet, please imagine that you are squeezing a block between your thighs. Also imagine engaging your thigh bones towards the sky, and this will keep you from any kind of sway or kind of release of core. What is this like here? If it doesn't feel great, again, try knees down. I have given myself wickedly sore core muscles doing this on my knees. Beautiful. Releasing, again, let gravity win. How efficiently can you give in? I'm not going to do it, but I'm so tempted to try and find out what everyone's word or mantra is just to see if we have any repeats, but I'm not going to do it. All right, folks, we're coming into flight, what I think of as glider kind of airplane, arms straight out, fingers wide. It's also kind of like hug emoji, but doing it in this position with gravity at play, we are working our back line of those shoulder joints and upper back. So laying down, forehead on the floor if you can. As you're ready, anchor the pelvis, and by that I mean tuck the pubic bone and hip bones into the floor, boom, as you're ready to reach the arms off the floor. And you're reaching for opposite walls, you're spreading the fingers. And as we continue here for another 6 to 8 breaths, whatever it might be, see what makes sense in your body. You might want to take flight with the chest as well. Maybe the legs, if that bothers your back, don't do it. Yeah. And again, this act of these arms like this can really light up some muscles. Maybe you feel a little burn. It's all right, we're good with a little burn, but no ouch. No ouch. Stay soft in that neck. And on one last inhale, if you would like, take those arms forward, brief Superman pose. And then please plant the hands, press back to your child's pose. No wings, no shrugs, shoulder heads stay down. Good, take those knees wide, wiggle those hips back and in. If child's pose does not work for your knees, ragdoll is a good alternative, and we'll actually be going there in a moment as a group. What are you discovering here? How is your low back? How are your shoulders? Especially if you've got your arms extended forward. Great chance to notice and stretch. We're going to add one more active shoulder exercise right here. Walking those arms all the way forward, palms flat on the floor. You're then going to tent the fingertips so that the palms come up off the floor. So you are really touching only the knees, the head, and your fingertips. Well, and your feet, you know what I mean, but not the arm, not the palm. See if you can spider walk those fingertips even a little further forward. And I love taking a couple of really big breaths here. A big inhale, so much so that it brings my head and chest right up off the floor. And then I let gravity in my exhale return. I often say yoga is a massage you give yourself. On your next exhale, tuck your tailbone and take it right up to your downward facing dog, knees bent. Inviting a pedaling, which again talks to that back line beautifully. You kind of work one heel towards the floor and then the other. Shoulder heads rotate out, shoulders slide down towards the hips, neck is soft. See if you can find 3 breaths here. Maybe they're sighing breaths, maybe they're just really deep. This is a great place to move stagnant energy right out the top of the head. Who needs it? We're going to be coming into ragdoll, but if you're hungry for a quick little up dog, down dog, you're welcome to do that. Slowly, good shoulder work, one hand at a time, walking back towards the feet until you settle onto the feet, torso draped with gravity. Nice active breath using your core. On a long inhale, drop the butt and sweep up. Big glute squeeze at the top. Exhaling, prayer hands, palms lightly touching. Center and root in your first standing pose of the evening. We're going to come into a Kundalini breath practice, and I want to do just the arms on their own a moment so that you can scan what's appropriate for your body, okay? So the kind of traditional alignment would be arms up in kind of a V, I think victorious. The hand is the fingers just kind of wrapped, folded in. I'm not curling them in, they're just wrapped in. And then I'm kind of pinching with my upper part of my thumb. The tip of the thumb is still just curled up like you're going, yeah, you know? So I'm gonna just pinch and plant right there, yeah. If that's not comfortable, you could release the thumb completely off too, so just see what you need to do. If this arm position, I want you to scan. If you're like, okay, I cannot soften in the neck and the shoulders, this is ouchy. Maybe it's fine in the beginning and then it changes. You might just bring down to that hug emoji that you're pressing out through the fists. And if that still bothers, I would recommend just bringing those elbows in, or you can get rid of the arm thing entirely and just do breath, right? The breath, let's just check that on its own, because a lot of people actually do what's called reverse breathing, which I know sounds like you should be admitted to a hospital or something, and it is problematic, but it's the belly is not going the way we want it to go with breath. So just take your hand on your belly and take a nice little inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose, and you should feel the belly come away from the hand. And we're going to be doing that in a rapid fashion. So let's just try a couple, in and out through the nose. If your belly's not really moving at all, this is a chance to try and talk to it. That means your chest breathing, which creates more fight or flight in your system. So we really want, I don't want you to be up here hyperventilating. Right? That's not helpful. So if the belly is a problem, you might just have your hands down here so that you can really listen into what's happening. Find your version, change it up as we go. We're going to be doing a few rounds, all right? So I've got faith in you to just make adjustments as you need to. You can even close your eyes. As you're ready, begin. Nice inhale and in and out. Please continue. Scan for unnecessary tension. Please continue and notice if there's a particular word or thought that you would love to hold in your mind's eye that creates peace and goodness. Just one last little bit, you've got it. And then on your inhale, very slowly, thumbs coming towards each other up above. Exhaling, Om, prayer hands. Om. Nice, I blindsided you with that one, because we don't care how it sounds, what note you are, or anything else. Another round, find your version. Where do you want those arms to be? And begin. Scan for unnecessary tension. Find your mantra. You definitely find your belly. Just a few more. You can do this. Got it. And then inhaling slowly up. Is there more? Enjoy that top end of the inhale. Exhaling. And last time, this one's a short one, but really get that abdomen going. Here we are. And a couple more, and then inhaling. And find that last 10% of inhale right at that upper end in the chest. Exhaling. Om Shanti Shanti. Om peace. Peace. Step sideways on our mats. Let's face that way. And we're gonna come into straddle. And straddle is generally feet pretty parallel. If totally parallel feels weird and your ankles don't do it, the wider you can go, the better. And I usually start with my hands on my thighs. Gives me a chance to explore how are my knees and ankles and everybody feeling about this. If your knee is trying to go past your ankle, you need to shift your feet wider. You should feel that your soles of your feet can stay glued to the mat like a tree frog. They shouldn't be peeling away at the blade or the inner line, just glued to your mat. And if it feels appropriate in your body, maybe you take your hands all the way to the floor. You could use a block for midway. Please make core and breath part of this. So in other words, you're not just kind of flopping and sliding side to side with the hips, with the upper body just hanging. I want every exhale that sense of abdomen towards spine, like we do in compression exhale, which we didn't do tonight, but I know a lot of you are familiar. And then we're gonna hold to one side. I want you to really pump and work that breath. Maybe on the inhale, you kind of lift and extend the spine and give yourself room, and exhaling, you fold more deeply. Maybe you can hang the head. Some people like dropping the hips towards the heel and releasing the other foot, toes towards ceiling. Sorry, I never know what to call it or how to describe it, but I think you know what I mean. Holding to the other side. Is this side different? Tune into the areas of tension. Send in your breath. And then coming back to center, we're gonna bring our hands on our thighs and inhaling cow pose. Tailbone draws back, heart draws forward. Exhaling, we're gonna tuck into cat pose. Then I'm gonna invite you to do a sped up version. Again, if that doesn't work for your system, just do a few more slow ones. Otherwise, as you're ready, inhale cow, exhale cat. Just a few more. And then everybody inhaling, root and rise again, big glute squeeze. Exhaling, prayer hands. Light connection, tip of the tongue, roof of the mouth. Light presence, palm to palm. If your ankles need a break, please give them a little roll out. We're gonna stay in lunging or come back to lunging, and we're gonna be doing a little bit of our warrior two lunges. And again, most of you guys know that, you can always look at me. So I like doing hands to hips as I take my right foot and turn it 90 degrees, placing toes thoughtfully, spreading them wide, and then using the power of that back leg and foot rooting to send my hips forward and down. And I love pumping because then I get to notice, yeah, what's in there? Where's my edge tonight? Find that beautiful place for you, whatever it is, and reach the arms out from the heart, perhaps palms raised. Maybe you're looking forward, maybe you're not, whatever your neck needs, but this right hand is our offering hand. What would you like to offer up to yourself, to your loved ones, to the greater energies? Slowly coming back to center, and we'll switch. Left foot rotates 90, toes plant thoughtfully. If this is new to you, definitely scan your foot and knee. We really want them in the same plane, the same line. Reaching those arms out, and maybe palms raised up to you. The left hand is the receiving hand. Is there any particular gift, insight that you'd like to invite in? Can you let your body float with the breath wave? Slowly returning back to center. I'm just going to walk those feet on in. Do some nice hip circles. Yeah, you can face forward again if you'd like. So we're going to do, I think, one of the more challenging things in the world, which is a balancing pose without compromising our breath, without tightening neck or shoulders or tongue or any of it. So we'll start getting all that goodness in place and then hopefully notice if we're giving it up. Bring your feet together, big toes touching. Spread those other toes out. You might even like lift them off the mat, see if you can spread them like we do our intelligent hands. You might look down and see if you found any mat between your toes. And then notice if you're using your hands to tell the toes what to do. That would be an example of unnecessary tension. Like, why do we do these things? I don't know. So creating a tree trunk experience in your thighs, like really squeezing thigh bones towards each other, perineum, pelvic floor. That will get us, I think, into a nice core where hopefully you can now let all this be soft, neck, tongue, you name it, hands softly in prayer. As you bring your right foot into kickstand or up to the calf, you could flare the toes out. Notice if you've given up any kind of stability in the standing leg or hip. We don't want that hip to cock out. We're still creating our tree trunk. Maybe you're raising arms up. Notice if you're losing balance, it's usually the inner line of the foot that's peeling away. And we need our thigh and butt to power down like a deep kind of setting an anchor. If you're not wobbling at all, I'd love you to make it a little harder. Close your eyes and see if you can breathe inside of all that slow, deep and wide. A few more. And then if you can, an intentional dismount. Sometimes it feels good to keep that leg out or roll ankles, but it feels good. And we'll explore the other side. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Just so awesome. And really keeping that sense of tree trunkness, rootedness, easefulness. And you might use your ujjayi as a gentle reminder to hear that breath wave and make sure it hasn't stopped. Do you need to close the eyes to make it a little harder? Can you breathe peace inside of instability and intensity? And then gently releasing. Inhaling, root rise. Exhaling, fold. Inhaling, extend halfway up. Exhaling, set the butt to chair or bar stool. And please scan the shoulders, slide them down. Neck is neutral. If you'd like another balance challenge, lifting the heels. Peace inside of instability. On the inhale, root rise. Exhaling, prayer hands, and we're going to lift that right knee into standing crane. Your choice, if balance is a challenge, you can always just keep hands on hips. By the way, if you have any foot injury or anything right now, you may want to do this in multiple steps. Otherwise, we're going to step forward and go, ha! Ha, ha. Yeah, the ha part's harder. Yeah, thanks for getting that. I love that. Inhaling, slow, deep, and wide. Steer right hip bone back, left hip bone forward. Create a little jet airplane arms. And your option to hinge a little forward. It's going to really work that back line. Or anyone who would like can step forward onto that right foot, raising the left leg, and folding the torso a little bit. We're going to all exhale and fold, plant the hands, and step back to our downward facing dog. And here's where I invite you to hold, rest, or flow. Maybe you're staying in dog, maybe you go to child's pose, maybe you join me in dog series. Inhaling to your plank. I recommend knees down if this is your first chaturanga of the day. Exhaling, bend those elbows back. Don't give up your core. Do not swag. And then settling, inhaling either cobra or straightening those arms and suspending the hips for upward facing dog. Belly and breath take you back, downward facing dog. Maybe a sighing breath, and then walking those hands back to the feet, committing to the fold. Inhaling, extend halfway up. Remember, this is to your breath timing. Exhaling, tuck that tailbone to sit into chair or bar stool. Sliding the shoulders down. Breathing into peace. Inhaling, rise, take a squeeze. Exhaling, prayer hands, left knee lifts. Nice long inhale. And then exhaling forward, ha. Ha. Your left hip bone back, right hip bone forward. Jet airplane arms. Maybe hinging. I say maybe because maybe that doesn't work great in your body today.
Maybe folding and flying that back leg. If so, by the way, you should be able to look back at your right toes flexed downward towards the floor, hips neutral. And slowly everyone into a fold. And stepping back to your downward facing dog. One more time, inviting you to hold, rest, or flow. Flow could also be cow cat, or just nut dog, down dog. Otherwise, inhaling plank. Exhaling chaturanga. Upward dog or cobra. Forward facing dog. And I ask you to notice, what is your body craving at this point? Is there a part of your body that has spoken to you that needs some special attention? We're going to be doing some self-massage into this kind of occipital ridge, skull, jaw area. So I have that waiting for you, and we can also do a little love up with the block and some restorative work. If there's any specific stretch or muscular effort, please do that. How's it doing? Good. So we're gonna be coming first into our supported pose with a block or a rolled up blanket under the bra strap. And it's really important to me, it's really important to me that if you are using a block, for example, under the ribs, that you have something handy that you can tuck under your head if you need it. Because letting the head drop down and back too far can really create immediate stress on the neck, the whole back, etc. So I've got a couple of extra blankets I got out. Yeah, that's a lot. Unless you do a lot of back bending, it can be a lot. You can also substitute your block for a blanket or something softer. That's another option. So I often say that we're seeking the here. So if any party was kind of go, yeah, this is all right, then we want to make a change. Anybody feel like they wish they had something handy they don't have? This is another lovely position to roll your head side to side. Explore what's there, invite a release. And in this particular shape, you have the ability, well, it will have already happened hopefully, that your trapezius muscle is soft. So I'm curious to have each of us take your hand up and back, and it might be right hand to right trap. That's my preferred way of doing it. Some people like crossing over. That's awkward for me, but it just depends. I just want you to feel if there's an uncharacteristic softness there. And if so, it's because we have, by taking the ribs forward, we've allowed the shoulder blade wingtip to tip in towards the body. And the trapezius muscle is not just up here where we tend to think of it, it connects at the blade. So anytime our blade is tilted out, our trap is tight whether we like it or not. Yeah, so this is a really great space to give yourself some massage. If you're someone who chronically is tight in this area and you're just sort of suffering, wishing someone would massage you every day, you can. And then we can also add some nice lubricating movements for the shoulders, taking the right arm straight up to the sky, palm facing the center line, and then reaching slowly and actively behind you towards the wall. And then sweeping that arm out towards the wall to your right, and then back in towards the ear. Just whatever dimension feels good. There's no goal here other than to experience a self-massage, right? So if it doesn't feel great, adjust it. And of course, exploring the other side. When this is all complete, I'm asking you to roll a little to one side to come off. You don't want to hike your head up. And then just pause a moment to notice what it is like to be flat on your back. This is where we started. It's a wonderful position potentially. It's really the only position in which our spine can decompress. So if you can do this without anything under your head, that would be ideal. Anytime the head is forward of neutral, it is pulling on the spine. And I don't know about you, but I catch my head forward of neutral all the time. Texting being one of those places. Walking in a hurry being another one. Inviting you now to bring your hands up behind your head. And I'm just gonna kind of like hold my skull in my hands until my thumbs can land right at the base of the skull, occipital ridge. That's that bony thing right at the base. And I want you to explore. I want you to go up kind of underneath it. And you can also then go up and over it. And there's kind of a valley in there where there are actually a lot of attachment points that I think of as the texting attachment points. Because as soon as your head drops forward, there is a pull and a stress to that area. Sometimes it feels natural or good to just like move your jaw around while you're doing this. And maybe you want to take your thumbs and explore more of those points further along from the back center towards the ear. So if you're kind of moving along the base of the skull, like the rim of it, you'll end up kind of behind the ear. Yeah, sometimes it feels really good to create a little traction if you're able to kind of use one hand to kind of press and pull, and then the other, until you feel you're ready to settle into your resting shape. We're going to be doing just a little bit of pranayama or breath work to take us down into our yogic sleep. And of course, from there, we will rise for our chocolate meditation. Notice if me just saying those words created any salivation or reaction in your body. Bless you. So I'm inviting us into breath blocks because they are so wonderful at helping bring us into a meditative state. Simply inhale and then exhale and hold out. And this is just a soft, regular exhale, not compression breath. Tune in, observe the sensations. Notice the first instinct to breathe and ask, can I soften around this? Can I soften around this? Knowing you can breathe whenever you like. When you do need to breathe, inhale and hold in, internal breath block. Again, notice, tune in, asking, can I soften around this? Up to you if you are enjoying this meditative quality of pranayama practice. You might decide to just continue that through your yogic sleep, or maybe you even want to do seated meditation.
when it is time to make our way to seated for the chocolate meditation, I will chime my bowl, let you know. Feel ready to sink into your yogic sleep once again, imagining that gravity just got a little bit stronger, guiding you down, down, down. My voice, stay as introverted as you can. Keep your eyes closed as you gently make the transition to seated. If you would like to participate in the chocolate meditation, simply want to have one hand and palm open. It's chocolate in your hand. Let's invite you before placing it in your mouth to inhale the aroma and notice the effects on the body. And ideally, you not have to chew it, simply let the chocolate be in your mouth and manipulate as you desire. Notice if the mind wanders, turn it to breath and body tension. What are you experiencing with the chocolate? This is a time of year when we need to deeply turn in towards the darkness, make friends with it, let it support us in resting more, turning our attention to activities that we didn't in the more active times of summer, and cultivate our own inner light, whatever that means in your world. Sometimes it just means spending more attention with ourselves, listening inward. Maybe there are particular practices or activities that you know really nourish your center being that have been neglected. It's time to take them up again. the actual piece of chocolate has melted, notice what remains. Your body may still be having responses to the chocolate. I'm going to ask us to make a slow and quiet journey back into the room that we share and on into the night that awaits us, holidays and all of that. So while you're in this integrated place, it's a wonderful time to just sort of set your intention around with what energy would you like to emerge? Kind of like the hands, what do you want to offer? Perhaps to the other humans that you spend time with in the coming days. What gifts are you open to receiving, or do you feel that you really need to nourish and support you to be your best self? And eventually at some point this room will get chatty, and that's okay, and I'll turn some lights on, but I'm gonna ask you to just be gentle with yourself and others as you emerge. Wishing you all a very happy solstice, and since we won't be together as a group again until the first week of January, I guess we'll be here on January 2nd, Tuesday morning. I wish you a happy new year, happy entry into 2024. Oh, I hope it's peaceful and healthy, and I look forward to doing a lot of yoga with you in it. Om Shanti Shanti. Peace, peace. Namaste. Light in me recognizes the light in you. So grateful. So grateful that each of you could join on Zoom. I'm going to close our session now, but thank you so much for being here.